From LALATE headquarters in Santa Monica, this is Afternoons LALATE.
It's a big afternoon of Afternoons LALATE with incredible great news about your fourth stimulus check update of 2022. Your CR for stimulus 1.0, 2.0, 3.0, and 4.0, and your presidential opportunities to repurpose money, SS 200 2.0, and the opportunity to get out additional sums of money by repurposing money across the board. I have all the incredible details of the big money at issue, including MSC, in this recording direct from Santa Monica, California, on this beautiful day. We're going to go over the major piece of legislation passed on Friday, which mirrors CR for Stimulus 1.0. It is passed in the House by the Democrats. And now the Senate Republicans, you heard me right, Republicans say they're going to modify their CR for Stimulus 3.0 and merge it with 2. Then we're getting even hotter, as a fourth option is on the books. Plus, we've been talking about this stimulus for several months and student loan debt forgiveness, but this stimulus could get an easier path, and that is the SS 200 2.0. We had talked about SS 200 during the campaign trail. As Joe Biden promised it would go out, it did not, and then we heard about it in this stimulus. Well, guess what? In this recording, we're going to go over the opportunity to get that money, not for just 6 to 12 months as initially promised, but now a lifetime. It's huge. It's breaking news. Plus, we'll be looking back at the incredible big money of third stimulus, the rent, utilities, food, and internet, as viewers have signaled that they have gotten $10,000 to $15,000 this week. Again, it's an additional round. It's more money. You can get that as well. We have breaking news. We have world exclusives. We have lots of checks. We have a lot of programs. And we have a lot of ways to get to the finish line. The incredible breaking news, the incredible exciting news, and in some cases of the world exclusives start right here as a beautiful Afternoons LA gets underway direct from Santa Monica. I'm excited you're here because we have a lot of major news to deliver today. And the exciting details start right here, right now, as Afternoons LA gets underway on a big day of breaking news starting right now. And here we go. What a day it is going to be, and what a day of breaking news. The incredible recon passed in the House in the month of November. Now in the Senate has at least $15,000 of checks before they add more checks on top of that. That'll grow to about $60,000. But the Senate changes refers to also something else. On Friday, the House of Representatives passed CR for Stimulus 2.0, and that is now in the Senate. Those Senate modifications will come as CR for Stimulus 3.0 is on the Senate side, and they vow to modify and merge the two together. Wow. We have incredible details of that in this recording. Of course, also really exciting is the SS 200 2.0, the incredible opportunity to get this money out the door. We've been waiting for this for a lifetime, it feels like, but now there's an opportunity, plus the ability to repurpose money out the door for you. Millions of Americans have needed this economic relief, and guess what? That's what the House members said last week. They said that millions of Americans need this incredible money to go out, and I'm going to show you how you can get it across the board. We got a big broadcast today, a lot of breaking news. I'm excited you're here direct from Santa Monica, California. But first, if you're new to this channel, you haven't seen this channel before, I want you to do me a favor. Go under this video right now and subscribe. You're watching LALATE, the number 3 most watched financial news channel in America, among TV broadcast, cable, and internet. Our hope is a hit to number 2. We need your help by you subscribing right to now. It's totally free. The link is under the video. Meantime, if you want to become a member to get that incredible newsletter Monday through Friday that comes out for the YouTube alert system and the LALATE alert system, which is also free. A link to that is under the video's description. We have so much breaking news today, folks. I'm really excited for you, and the finish line is in front of us. We're going to go over the we're going to go over the incredible Build Back Better Act that passed in the House back in November to understand each of these incredible checks, and then we're going to cut over to CR for stimulus. How much money is in this incredible Build Back Better Act, the fourth stimulus recon? A lot of money. Upwards of at least $15,000 to start, but at least $60,000. There is 3 clusters and 3 add-ons. We're going to go over each of those checks one at a time. Listen carefully to all the details of it. In the final minutes of this video, I have more checks for you to get today, so stay to the very end. Plus, I have my analysis of some comments that came in yesterday. Great questions. I'll have some of those answers today on air. Cluster number 1, hazard pay got in there. Essential workers, you get this one more year. The earned income tax credit expanded under third stimulus. To learn about it, go to irs.gov. $4,000 of elder care, $4,000 of care for young children. The $550 check for the Pell Grant recipients got it in there. The $12,500 towards the purchase of a new electric vehicle got it in there. And the home repairs, if you live in a low-income community, wow, that is incredible. And that got in there in the first of 3 clusters and 3 add-ons. Now, yes, this recon, the Build Back Better Act, has 3 clusters of checks and 3 add-ons that add up to at least about $15,000 to $60,000. So let's look at that first add-on of checks, and this is the one that makes so many of the viewers of this channel so excited. It is money to buy your first home, not island. Not your own survivor island. Just the graphic for the time being. Your own dock? No, not your own dock. Your own Santa Monica Pier? No, you cannot buy your own Santa Monica Pier for this money. That's the crypto show. That a crypto show will help you make enough money to buy your own beer. So this is money to buy your own first home, incredible across the board. It's less than $25,000. Maxine Waters got it in there on the House side. It's in there on the Senate side, just a little bit less. Given to the seller in your name by the federal government at the time of escrow. Wow, they got it in there. And that is the first of 3 add-ons and checks. Incredible deliciousness. Now let's turn to the second cluster of checks. And this is where we get even more money across the board. In that second cluster of checks, we have home repairs. This is to weatherize your home. And also paid leave. Paid leave is if you have to stay home due to sickness or illness of yourself or a family member. How much is this money? Oh boy, folks, it's a lot of money. It is $1,700 a week approximately if you make $70,000 or more per year. If your annual salary is $35,000, then you get about $800 a week. Annual salary about $15,000, then you get about $400 a week. How many weeks per year? 4 to 6 weeks per year. Wow, that is $4,000 to $6,000 on the high end. Now, if you don't work, but your son or daughter does work and take off from work once a week to take you to the doctor, then he or she is going to get the check for you across the board. That is incredible, and that is hazard pay that got into this incredible. That is the paid leave that got into this incredible second of 3 clusters of checks. Now let's turn to the second add-on, and you know who got you that provision? Joe Biden, and it's inserted in there by Bob Casey. The incredible $250 billion for free home health care for seniors and people on disabilities. For many, many years, you never had this free home health care. It got in there for seniors and people on disabilities like Medicare. Let's go to that third cluster of checks where we find deliciousness. We got in there the free internet, the money for the farmers, the money for the independent contractors. Then we got the nutrition. We got the money for the seniors. 2 provisions on the House, 3 coming on the Senate side. On the House side, they got in there the incredible Medicaid gap fix. More about that later in this video. And then the checks for hearing. On the Senate side, they vowed to enter and add in there dental, vision, and lowering the eligibility age of Medicare, which is par for the course of what we're talking about with the Senate side, because the senators have a lot of checks to add in there. And you know what that third add-on of checks is. If you're in the live chat right now, write the 3 letters. Write in the live chat the 3 letters if you know them by heart. The third item they want to add in there is MSC. What is MSC? Who gets it? Where do they get it? How much does it pay? And what are the nuances? And how do we get it over the finish line? I'm going to go over all those incredible details right now. MSC is a body of legislation that would be added to the Fourth Stimulus Recon that signifies an IRS stimulus check, multiple, monthly. Now, what differentiates this from the rest of the Build Back Better Act is that the Build Back Better Act has lots of checks. 40, 50, $60,000 of checks. This is just an extra plus cluster of checks or add-on of checks that come on a monthly basis from IRS. So who gets it? Let's go over the details of that, represented by the senators to tens of thousands of viewers of this channel since last spring. The people who get it are the same people who got third stimulus, forgot it. I'm going to recap it for you right now. Third stimulus and fourth stimulus would go to single individuals if your annual income is $75,000 or less. Married couple if your annual income is $150,000 or less, but the check would be doubled because there's two of you. Family of four, quadruple it. And if you're on benefits, SSI, SSDI, Social Security, or railroad benefits, you would get it as well. Also, adult dependents would also get it. It's not income. It's not taxable. It's offered nationwide and goes off your most recent tax return. And that most recent tax return, if it had a direct deposit account on there, that's how they would pay you, otherwise in the mail. Then how much? $2,000 the first month, $1,000 thereafter for up to 6 months, and that is true deliciousness. So then that brings us to the question of how. How do they actually get this money into the Build Back Better Act? Let's go over those details of that right now, and that will segue us into CR for Stimulus 1.0, 2.0, 3.0, 4.0, and all the major breaking news you're hearing for the first time today on Afternoons LALATE. The way they add all these incredible provisions on the Senate side is doing Senate subcommittee. The senators have received this body of legislation passed in the House from November. That's thousands of pages in length. Everything that's in there was written by a Democrat. Everything is staying in there. The Senate Democrats have stuff to add in there, and they would add it during Senate subcommittee. The Senate subcommittee would add those provisions and then have a final Senate bill, which we don't have at the moment. It would go to the floor of the Senate. The Senate would vote on it. Done. Then we have the 2-day vote-a-rama. Done. But is there an opportunity to get the money out sooner, quicker, in part? And there is. It's called CR for Stimulus. If you're in the live chat right now, write the hashtag campaign. 2 weeks ago and 1 day ago, I delivered the news on air that I thought it was important to bring back CR for Stimulus from 2020 to this channel now in 2022. And I asked viewers, do you want it back? And they overwhelmingly said yes. So let's go over what CR for Stimulus 2020 looked like and what CR for Stimulus 2022 looks exactly like as well right today. CR for Stimulus 2020 was the result of my looking at the situation back in 2020 and saying, you know what, we don't have a deal and we need a deal. What happened? When the pandemic hit in spring of 2020, a first stimulus package was passed. Then by spring of 2020, we heard about a second stimulus package called the second stimulus package in the works. The negotiations started in the spring, and they were Nancy Pelosi, Speaker of the House, out of San Francisco, on behalf of the Democrats, Steve Mnuchin, then Treasury Secretary, on behalf of the Republicans. And the negotiations continued in the spring, no deal. Summer, no deal. Fall, no deal. And then we went into winter, no deal. By December, still no deal. And I said, you know what? We need an alternative. So I thought back one particular day. I said, how can I find an alternative? What I wanted was the following. A body of legislation that was not a package of 3,000 pages in length. I want a small bill, a couple hundred pages. Number two, I want something that was going to go by bipartisan support. Number three, I want something that had a deadline that couldn't roll over month after month. I looked high and low and high and large, and finally I found it. A continuing resolution, also called CR. It has a lot of other names, but it is a budget bill has to be done every 3 to 6 months by the federal government to fund the federal government, the national parks, the federal buildings. The great news about it is that it has an inherent deadline. They can roll over a day or a few days or a week, maybe a month, but they don't roll over months because the federal government would default. And the great news was that there was one coming up. It was December 2020. So I thought about how to say it. I thought about how to make the recording. I thought about for us to advocate as part of the Purple Power. And then I thought about the criticism that would come. And then I prepared the first recording and I went on air live and I said, hey, I have an idea for you. It's called CR for stimulus. I came up with this idea, this creation, this concept overnight. And the concept is based upon the premise that it's been 11 months of negotiations between Steve and Nancy and no deal. Why not take another body of legislation and insert money into that has a deadline that would get you the money faster across the board? Do you like that idea? And viewers love the idea. So we pushed the hashtag campaign created by me on the channel, CR4 stimulus. If you're in the live chat right now, write the hashtag campaign. And we pushed. The moment we pushed, immediately the criticism came on in. And the criticisms were exactly as I had anticipated. The criticism said that LALATE, it don't belong in there. The CR is money for the federal government. This don't belong in there. This is money for the people. And I said, you're right. You're exactly right. It doesn't belong in there. A stimulus check for the American people does not belong in a bill that funds the federal government. But that doesn't mean you can't do it. Why? Since the start of Congress decades ago, they've been inserting provisions into bodies of legislation that don't belong in there. And during the pandemic, they were doing this nonstop. They had a bill that funded military and foreign governments in a COVID relief bill. They had another COVID relief bill that proposed money to build a new FBI building. And they had another COVID relief bill to propose to expand the Department of Copyrights. Doesn't belong in there. They can insert our money as well. And one morning we woke up and they said stimulus was in the CR. We thought we had won until we looked and we realized, no, it's unemployment stimulus, not what we asked for. So we pushed back and suddenly we woke up and there it was. We had made history. I had made history of coming up with a concept, and you, the viewership of this channel called Purple Power, had made history by advocating for it because guess what? The announcement was made. A $600 check was going to be put into the continuing resolution for the first time ever seen in the United States history. And it went out. It was law. It became a law. December 2020, Americans got that check or the following month. Guess what? Second stimulus never went to law, never got a vote, and there never was a second stimulus check. Thank goodness for this channel, for you, and for my concept of CR for stimulus, because you would have never got to the $600 stimulus check. You would have never gotten anything in December 2020. So 2 Saturdays ago and 1 day ago, I said, you want to bring it back on camera? Viewers said yes. 11 months of negotiations, Joe and Joe. No progress, a package too big, 3,000 pages in length, and now another opportunity. Another CR, a continuing resolution that has a deadline of late February. You want to do it? And viewers said yes. And so we delivered the advocacy on this channel and we pushed, and guess what? In less than 2 weeks, Congress heard us again. And it came in from here in California. The California Representative Pete Aguilar said, you know what? I like the Build Back Better Act. It will get done. It's a great body of legislation. It's huge. But we need other economic recovery assistance bills passed before it. It's exactly what we're talking about. We are supporting the Build Back Better Act. It will get done, but we need other bodies of legislation to go out first. And so that was last Thursday. I said to you on camera that Pete Aguilar is representing that there's several opportunities, and he's not going to just use one, and that the first one may go for a vote in less than 24 hours. Well, guess what? It did. And exactly as I delivered in the breaking news on Thursday, the vote happened on Friday, and it became passed by this House. It's now in the Senate. So where is that CR for Stimulus 2.0 from Pete Aguilar? Where is the Senate version of it? CR for Stimulus 3.0. Where is our CR for Stimulus status 1.0? And is there a 4.0? It's all coming up in the second half of this video. Then, you were promised $200 a month for 6 to 12 months if you're a senior or person on disability during the campaign trail by Liz Warren and Joe Biden. They didn't deliver it. Then we heard it was going to go into fist stimulus. Still hasn't gone to law fist stimulus. But in the second half of this recording, you're going to see how the president can do it right today with a phone call. Wow. Then we're going to look at the big opportunities to repurpose existing monies and get those monies out the door. It is huge. It's great. It's been done before by even Republicans, and Joe Biden can do it as well. I'm going to answer some of your incredible questions with some of my personal commentary, you brand new, you've never seen before in the final minutes of this video. Plus, of course, I'm going to get you big sums of money, lots of it, as viewers continue to get $10, $12, $15,000 in the last few days from Third Stimulus. It's back on, baby. And Third Stimulus is back on with viewers getting another round of that money. You want thousands of dollars to go into the weekend? Well, stay with me. I'm going to show you how to get those big sums of money. It's coming up in the second half of Afternoons LALATE. See you back in 60 seconds. But first, here's a little bit about the community page. If you want money right now, not 5 days from now, and not 5 weeks from now, then reach out to the community page. The volunteers can help you find that money for rent and utilities. That's at news.lalate.com/community. The community page features a series of volunteers who are viewers like you. They can help you find rent, utilities, SNAP, food benefits, mortgage assistance, and help you with eviction moratorium questions as well. Their Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram individuals reach out to them and indicate the city and state you're from, and they'll get back to you shortly. That's a community page. Volunteers working for you, viewers helping one another. Stay with LA for more. Join LALATE Daily for the excitement of the new LALATE live daily. The excitement starts on mornings LALATE at 9 a.m. Home LALATE returns at 11 a.m. daily. And then afternoons LALATE at 1 p.m. Join us daily as the excitement continues live from Santa Monica on LALATE. And the excitement continues right now as Afternoons LA continues direct from Santa Monica, California, with incredible great news about your CR for Stimulus 2.0, 3.0, 4.0, and SS200 2.0. The House passed CR for Stimulus 2.0 on Friday, and guess what? The Senate is ready with their 3.0 version and says they're going to merge together. Wow. Then we're going to go back into the Build Back Better Act and those incredible checks across the board that'll pay you fortunes, and will show you how to get upwards of $45,000 on the third stimulus this week. No time to wait. We'll be looking at SS200 and the opportunity to do that SS200 2.0 without a incredible recon. How do you get it done? I'll show you in the second half of this video. If you're new to this channel, you just found this channel, you're wondering what you're watching LA, the #3 most watched financial news channel in America, and I need your help. So subscribe to bring us to #2. Grow this channel and tell your friends and family to come on over. The last week, the subscriber growth and viewership numbers have been going through the roof. Let's keep it going. Hit that subscribe button. Like the video, 2,000-3,000 likes, and sign for that LA newsletter that shows you the big money under first, second, and third stimulus for you to get. It comes out tonight, 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, via the YouTube alert system and the LALATE alert system. So much details are coming up in the second half of this video. I'm excited you're here. And with that, we're going to go right back into CR for Stimulus 2.0, then 3, and then back to 1 before we finish into the other bodies of legislation across the board. Well, before the commercial break, we talked about the opportunity to insert a stimulus check in the continuing resolution that has a vote in mid to late February. That's CR for Stimulus 1.0. But I also stressed to you the reasoning, the rationale for it, which is we support the Build Back Better Act, the Fourth Stimulus Recon. We need some other economic legislation to go before it that's quicker, faster, sweeter. And guess what? That's what Pete Aguilar said last Thursday. And within 24 hours and his message came within 1 week of me delivering what importance this gave you. Within 24 hours of his message, then the House passed their first attempt, CR for Stimulus 2.0. That is an economic recovery legislation. Now, let's understand the difference between economic recovery and social recovery. Very, very different. When we talk about vision, dental, hearing, home repairs, that's social recovery. When we talk about things like your wallet, your money, your finances, your mortgage, your rent, that's economic recovery. And Aguilar said going into Thursday last week that we do have our eye on the economic recovery, referring to Democrats, and that there will be absolutely pieces of legislation that Democrats will discuss and continue to pass to alleviate supply chain and deal with inflationary pressures. That was Thursday, and I told you on Thursday that Aguilar was going to potentially pass one by Friday. He passed it on Friday. In that Friday, the House of Representatives, Democrats passed that body of legislation. I'm referring to that as CR for Stimulus 2.0. Now, let's be very frank. CR for Stimulus is sort of taking its own idiomatic expression on this channel to refer to using something small, bipartisan, quick, that you can insert potentially money in, not necessarily a CR. So his legislation is not using a CR, it's using just an economic bill. Well, guess what happened? Is that the reaction for the Senate that came in minutes after Aguilar's move Friday, passing that legislation, was positive. The Senate Republicans came in and said, thank you for passing that, because guess what? We're doing our own version, and we're going to pass our version, and then we can merge them. So the Senate version I'm referring to as CR for Stimulus 3.0. So 3 and 2 are looking to merge. What's at issue? Well, in a breath of fresh air, the Senate Republicans, you heard me right, Republicans, said they were very happy with what happened with the Democrats in the House. This is Senator Todd Young, who's a leading GOP backer of the Senate legislation. He says that my hope is the process will move forward. Wow. And continue to move forward. Wow. The Democrats passed their bill in the House, and then we, Senate Republicans, can go to the conference, and we, all senators, can come up with a piece of legislation that's more reflective of what the Senate can produce. Great. Then we, Senate members, will work very quickly to prove what we've done here in the Senate, and then we'll send what we've done to the Senate, to the House, to get a better option to merge the things shortly thereafter. It's incredible. So let's recap. We started the movement on this channel 2 weeks ago with CR for Stimulus 1.0, saying use other pieces of legislation. Then CR for Stimulus heated up 2 weeks after that recording with the House Democrats saying we're going to do something and pass it. They did last Friday. Now we have the Senate Republicans saying they're going to do their versions. That's referred to as CR 3.0. What is CR for Stimulus 4.0? So there's a 4.0 option. Not as easy. Why? Because it's not pure economic recovery. Now remember what I've taught you on this channel the last 2 weeks. Doesn't matter if the legislation is called chocolate cake or SpongeBob. It's just so long as there's room to put money in there. And the fourth option, CR for Stimulus 4.0, is a Russian-sanctioned bill. Reason I like it? One, deadline. It's going to get passed any moment this week, potentially. Number two, it's bipartisan. Very, very, very bipartisan. Republican Marco Rubio, Senator Bob Menendez, Democrat. They're working hand in hand. Number three, it's really small. It's not thousands of pages of length. It's like, Russia, I don't like you. Sanction you. Done. Have a good lunch. So that's what it is. It's because of Russia's movement of 100,000 troops to the Ukrainian border. So that is the 4.0 option. So what is going on with CR for Stimulus 1.0? Our version, where we're actually using a CR, but keeping the same methodology as 2, 3, and 4. What's going on with that is that there's two people you want to advocate to, and I delivered that on air this last weekend, very clear. You want to advocate to Leahy and Schumer. They're both Democrats. They're both senators. Why? Because John Tester, who's a Democrat from Montana, says the status on the continuing resolution is the following. So let's slow this down so you follow this very clearly. The continuing resolution, and this is our CR for Stimulus, this is our attempt, inserting a stimulus check in the continuing resolution, has a deadline of about February 18th. Now, they can roll it over a day or a few days or a few weeks, but you don't want them to roll it over a month. If they need to roll it over a month, they have to do something called a stop gap. You don't want them to do a stop gap because it just buys them more time. We don't want them buying more time. So Tester's actually on point with us on this. He says, you know what? We don't need to do a stopgap. All we have to do is agree upon the price tag of the whole CR. Just the whole, what's the price tag? They call that the top line number. It's another way to say what's the price. It's like you're going to the department store and you're buying a suit. I don't need to know what the jacket's worth. I just need what the jacket and the pants are worth. What's the whole thing? What's the total number? And he says if Leahy and Schumer can lock down that number with Mitch, who I'm not going to tell you to advocate to, obviously, unless you really want some lobster shorts, then that's another channel. You can advocate for the lobster shorts on another channel. Tester says you need to really get Schumer and Leahy to lock down a number, and then the CR will be done within a week. So that means the CR would be done this month. Done. Okay, so what you want to advocate to is to Leahy, that's Leahy, and Chuck Schumer. Leahy's Vermont, Schumer, of course, is New York. Advocate for, one, that they get the continuing resolution done this month. Do not do a stopgap. And number two, insert a stimulus check in there. You did it in December 2020. Millions of Americans and Democrats have supported you Democrats in doing your Build Back Better Act. We've had a lot of patience with you, but we deserve money for our patience, and our patience should be rewarded, and our support of you should be rewarded with a stimulus check. So advocate by picking up the phone and calling their staff. These are the two people, Leahy and Schumer. You can also call Tessa. Some people are saying, should I call Tessa? I mean, you can call Tessa as well. But those are the people you want to really get on board. And that is the status of CR for Stimulus 1.0. Now, does Joseph Biden have other opportunities to get you money that are even easier, that are not involving Congress? Yes. And this is where we're going to turn the tables right now for a slightly different discussion, and it's SS200 2.0. What is SS200 if you're new to this channel? During his run for President of the United States, Joseph Biden was initially campaigning and against Elizabeth Warren. They were not, they were adversaries on the campaign trail. She had a concept of reforming the SSI system. So once Liz Warren pulled out of the race for president, Joe Biden says, I will assume that policy because I like it and I support you, Liz Warren. I will put that into my campaign. And he did. And he ran on a platform of it. I'll explain the platform more in a second. Then, when he was elected as president-elect, but had not yet taken the oath of office, the president-elect had issued almost 20 pages of documents on his website indicating what his platforms will be, the legislation he passed. And among it was the SSI reform. Now, let's go over what this SSI reform is. This is very important. I told you there's a lot of legislation in this video. There's a lot of checks in this video. This involves, first, reforming the entire system for people who get benefits. You, if you're on SSI, SSDI, Social Security, railroad benefits, veterans benefits, RB, or anything like that, or multiple benefits. First concept was to raise everyone's benefits to get you caught up. Then, to apply a new benchmark, replacing COLA with inflation. Third, removing the marriage penalty and the income cap, and removing the asset cap. He didn't do it on day one. He didn't do it on month one. And so guess what? The Democrats came in and said, you know what? You're not doing it, Joe Biden. We're going to do it by a fifth stimulus recon. As we sit here now in February, we haven't seen fifth stimulus recon really heat up yet. And that is why I'm making the push for SS200 2.0. And guess what? This is fascinating. Now, let me give you a premise before I get into SS200, because I got some great questions. What about things like the marriage penalty? Marriage penalty can't go this way. The provisions that are laws, like marriage penalty, the president cannot remove a law just because he's the president. This SS200 he can do. So let's go over SS200. SS200 was one of the add-ons, that one of the provisions to this reform. The concept was that people on benefits had been left behind, had not got enough money during the pandemic, and that for 6 to 12 months only, you're going to get $200 additional per month. So it was about $1,200 total. Well, SS200 has the opportunity to give you that amount of money lifetime. Yeah, this is even better than SS200. What is the concept based upon? The concept is based upon the premise that the President of the United States can pick up the phone and speak to an agency and give them encouragement to change their guidelines. And the concept starts the following. There are federal agencies under the U.S. government that determine their own guidelines how to operate. They do not follow acts of Congress. They determine how they do things and how they modify and how they move. SBA is one of them, FEMA is one of them, and certainly Social Security Administration is one of them. In the case of Social Security Administration, they pay your checks year after year based upon a benchmark. That benchmark is a COLA. COLA, C-O-L-A, cost of living adjustment. They look at it every December to determine whether your benefits go up the following year. How many years have you seen your checks the same as the amount the year before, with the exception of this year? Almost every year? That's because COLA doesn't work. Your gasoline goes up, your milk goes up every year, but COLA doesn't move. That's why everyone, including Liz and Joe and Democrats, wanted to get rid of COLA, and I want to get rid of COLA. The concept is that all that Joe Biden has to do is pick up the phone and contact the Social Security Administration and say, hey, it's the president on the line. I know ultimately you determine what you want to do yourself, but I want to encourage you to replace COLA with inflation. First, let me explain to you what economically that would do for you financially, and then I'll go over the nuances of how it works. It would give you at least approximately $200 a month every month for not 6 to 12 months, but lifetime. It's SS200 a lifetime. It's huge. So why would you not do it? Okay, why does it get you that amount of money? Because COLA came in last December at 5.9%. But this kid in purple, since spring of last year, was the only person on broadcast or print or anywhere that said inflation ain't going to be 5% in December 2021. It ain't going to be 2%. It ain't going to be 1%. It's going to be 8%. Federal Reserve was going to said it all last year. It was going to be 1 to 2% last month. They were wrong. Federal Reserve said it was going to be temporary. They're wrong. Wall Street said it was going to be 2 to 3%, and it was temporary. They were wrong. I said it was going to be 8% and was not going to be temporary. Guess what? It came in at 7.5%. If Joe Biden makes the phone call today, then the rate your benefits would swap from being up 5.9% to being up 7.5%. Your benefits would go up an additional 2% from where they are right now and up about 7.5% more than where they were last month. That is huge, and that's how it works. Now let's go over the nuances of how it actually functionally works. So the concept is very simple, that the agencies determine how to do things. And all the president has to do is pick up the phone and call them. It's not an executive order. It's not an executive act. It's just a phone call. If you're with this channel in, I believe it was February of last year, I featured a guy on this channel, large set white guy, and he's a Social Security administrator. Your benefits checks did not, your $600 stimulus checks did not go out on time, or it's the $1,400. I don't remember which one it was. And he messed up. Joe Biden came in and fired him. Remember that guy? And Joe Biden put in his Social Security administrator. So that guy, the new replacement, all that Joe Biden has to do is call up and say, hey, it's Joe again, the guy who got you that job. Can you change your system and just swap it off to inflation? And there you go. 30 days out, that's how it would work. COLA would be replaced with inflation. Now, let's go to the concept of the other opportunity that Joe Biden could do, which is repurposing money. Huge. The President of the United States has the ability to repurpose existing money in federal agencies where the programs have ended and send out the money across the board. The concept is very simple. Congress passes a law at a particular year, establishes a program, gives the money to the program. The program's then over a few years later, but the money was never used. There's extra money. The president has the authority to pick up the phone and contact that agency saying, repurpose the money for something else and send it out. It happened twice under the Trump administration. In the Trump administration, the first opportunity was FEMA. FEMA was established decades ago, but it was given a program under the start of the COVID days in which that money was to be dedicated for COVID relief via FEMA. Well, the program went live, then the program ended, and guess what? There was leftover money. So Trump picked up the phone and said, you know what, FEMA, I want you to repurpose that money and repurpose it for unemployment benefits. Very, very simple. Second opportunity that Donald Trump had across the board was to repurpose existing money in SBA. There was $550 billion at SBA. He could have repurposed. He didn't. And it cost him the election. Had he repurposed that money, it would have been 2 stimulus checks to go out across the board. Now, let me go over some things that I want to go over about this and also what's important to understand about 4 stimulus, which I'm going to go back into in just 10 seconds from now. It's important for you to really listen carefully to the words of the recordings. And I know some of these recordings are hideously dense. I mean, this is stimulus 3.0. This is not basic stimulus. This is very in-depth reporting. But here's what I want you to know. For example, some people on last weekend were saying Joe Biden repurposed the SBA money. No, no, no. The SBA money was an example from 2020 when the money was there. It's no longer there. So if I don't say tell Joe Biden to repurpose the money, don't presume that you should be asking Joe Biden to repurpose SBA money because it's not there. Then in yesterday's chat, some people were saying, well, where did the SBA money go? And it was like a 20-minute conversation in the live chat. Very, very complicated. Let me just say, the money's gone. The SBA money's gone. The FEMA money's gone. Biden can repurpose other money. Don't get bogged down in too many facts that it's just too complicated. Next, and this is what's very, very important, is do not take the verbs or the adverbs or the function of a sentence and change the language. Very, very important. And here's an example. Janet, who's a wonderful viewer, she said it correctly yesterday in one of the live chats. She said, Ella, you're so wonderful. She said replacing COLA with inflation for beneficiaries would be huge, would be wonderful. And the day before that, someone said that would be great to give us 7.5% on top of COLA 5.9%. No. I didn't say on top of. So don't add additional adverbs like it. Janet got it right. We're replacing COLA with inflation. We're not putting inflation on top of COLA. You're not getting not 11% more of benefits than you got the month before. Okay, here's another example, and we're going to go right into forced stimulus right now. I'm going to go back into the Build Back Better Act, and as I go through some of these checks, I'm going to go over sometimes where I've seen people sort of take the language and modify the language, totally different than what I've said. So I want you to pay very careful attention when I go over all these checks. And if you don't know, you don't know what the situation is, send me a private message. But please do not change the language because I want you to know exactly how to get this money. That's a concept of a purple hawk. All right, let's go into all these incredible sums of money in the Forced Stimulus Recon. And where I've seen someone say something incorrectly in the last 24 hours, I'm going to correct it for you right now. The SALT cap will allow you to deduct $72,500 of what you pay in state and local taxes on the federal tax return, raise it from $10,000. Cheaper prescription medication for seniors on Medicare will grow from 20 medications at day one to 30 medications at 2028 across the board, like cancer, arthritis, diabetes. Job training, $40 billion of free job training checks across the board for millions of Americans who want to take a higher paying job. They got in there the Medicaid gap fix. They'll provide years of subsidized private insurance to low-income uninsured people in 12 Republican holdout states. They got in there the $12,500 towards the purchase of electric vehicles. So someone yesterday in the live chat said, so they're going to give me a new car? No. Another person said they're going to give me $12,500 as a down payment on a new car. Did I say down payment? No. $12,500 towards the purchase of a new electric vehicle. This is how it works. You walk into the dealership. I want that car there. It's electric. Okay. You go to the cash register. You pay that amount less $12,500. That's how it works. You still have to pay for the car. You're just paying $12,500 less at the time of purchase. It's different than the current law, and it's a lot better. Then they got $550 checks for the Pell Grant recipients. They got in there the home repairs if you live in a low-income community, to which someone said, can I have that home repairs now? You can't under forced stimulus because everything under forced stimulus is not a law yet. But sometimes we have some of these provisions somewhere else. And if you're a member of this channel, the nonprofits do nominal home repairs right now. They're covered in the membership newsletter across the board. Then they got in there the incredible nutrition, $65 a month for nutrition. There is always someone who jumps in the live chat, but very, very frequently now, very more prevalent in mid-2021, where they said this money is just for people with children. No, most of these provisions are not for people with children. Then yesterday someone said, what about that hazard pay? I never got it in the third stimulus. It's not automatic. It's not the original hazard pay from Nancy Pelosi from second stimulus proposed. This is the earned income tax credit where you have to file the tax return and get the benefits on the tax return. Learn about it at IRSD GRV. They're proposing to do it across the board, another round under fourth stimulus. Then let's turn to some rent, utilities, mortgage assistance, and more. And this is huge, and this is incredible details across the board. These sums of money are available for you right now, and let's look at those incredible graphics, because guess what? This is third stimulus, and it's still paying out the money. My goodness. This was the money back in October, but now in January, you can get it as well. I'm going to show you how you get more of this money today, even if you got it before. It's huge, and we'll go over the details. Here's the rent. You're going to get it from 6 places: City Hall, City House Authority; County Hall, County House Authority; State Hall, and State House Authority. And the keywords you're going to say are rent assistance because of COVID, mortgage or utility assistance because of COVID. 6 places you must reach out to. Those 6 places are the following. You must reach out to all 6. Number 2, you must get application on file. You must, third, get multiple rounds. More about those multiple rounds is second. Next, utilities. Reach out to all utility companies and get that utility assistance because of COVID. Go get it right now. Mark's brother-in-law is getting $15,000 a month because of this. SNAP. Get it from Department of Agriculture. It's money for your food. Why would you not get it? Mark's brother-in-law is getting $25,000 a year. Over 10 years, he's getting $250,000. Then get 3 items or more. Start of Art Sullivan and Nisi. They got 3, and they inspired countless viewers like Mark, who that time was here at 2 items at $32,000. I said, Mark was your third. He got his third, brought him to $50,000. Now he's over $100,000, like Lorraine, who went from $105 to $120, which tees us up then for the question of additional rounds. What's this additional round? You want to get another round of this money, rent, utilities, mortgages, as far out as possible, potentially May, starting with the organization you may have reached out to before, and then they say maybe not May, then bring it into April, then bring it into March. Also lean on the nonprofits. When third stimulus became a law, the viewership of this channel was told by me, I think I can get you 15,000. They on average got 45,000. Then they got another round for the summer months of 2021, about 3 months. And then in December, I said, you need more money? It's the holidays, it's cold, the gas bill's up. Well, let's get another round. And the viewership average on average got 3 to 4 months of rent and 1 to 2 utilities starting about November. That again was 3 to 4 months of these assistance. So get another round today. The incredible great news is that if you're looking across the landscape right now, there is a lot of money that is available for you. There is third stimulus that's available for you. And that third stimulus in all these multiple forms. Then we have all the opportunities of CR for stimulus 1.0, 2.0, 3.0, and 4.0 heating up. We have the opportunity for SS 200 2.0 and the repurposing of money. Remember, the President of the United States cannot do an executive order. Do not use that language. Do never use the word executive order unless I mention it, because executive order usually tees up the wrong expression. The President of the United States cannot walk into the Department of Treasury, grab a wad of cash and throw it in the mail by executive order. He can't. He'll be thrown in jail. He cannot do that. So you can just use common language. Say, Mr. President, do this. Don't call executive order, because a lot of these things are not executive orders across the board. The great news is that we have a lot of opportunities to get these provisions out the door. We're not just putting all our eggs in one basket. Finally, let me answer some other incredible questions I've seen in the last 48 hours. First, one viewer on Twitter, a subscriber, a very nice viewer, said, well, the concept of CR for stimulus, is it killing our opportunity to get $10,000 of MSCs? Another viewer said, or $15,000 of MSCs. Let's remember that the fourth stimulus recon has lots of checks in there, upwards of 60,000. There's not 60,000 or $15,000 of MSCs. MSCs, as last proposed by the Senate Democrats, was $2,000 the first month, up for $1,000 per month thereafter for up to 6 months. That is not $10,000, $15,000, $60,000. That's not that money. Does it help it? Yeah, it does help it to have CR for stimulus done first, because everything is a win. You want the Democrats, you want the legislators, House and Democrats, to both do wins across the board. Finally, do not insert things into the live chat that is categorically factually wrong because it confuses the situation. And sometimes people do it to be helpful, sometimes people do it to be harmful. For example, one time yesterday, someone said the Republicans are always trying to make the country default and not meet the CR deadlines. That's actually untrue. That's actually the reverse. Mitch, of all the things, is very bipartisan with CRs. He's always been very bipartisan with CRs, and he's always had quotes of saying, I don't want the government to default. I don't want the government to default. So do not insert a false statement of fact because it confuses the situation across the board. Finally, when looking at these inflation rates, when looking at the Russia-Ukraine situation, there's more details, and I'm going to feature more of those details coming up tonight on Evenings LA. We got a big news show at 5 o'clock of Evenings LA. Then we have an Evenings Countdown at 6 o'clock. Home Stream Cinemas at 7, and then Evenings Extra at 8 o'clock. We're going to have a lot of fun tonight. And with that, subscribe. I want you part of this incredible family. Bring this channel from number 3 to number 2 most watched financial news channel in America. Like the video and consider becoming a member. Stay informed, stay focused. Have a beautiful afternoon, and stay with LA for more.